So, it was December 26, 2004, and I was supposed to be starting my new life, going to Air Force basic training in 2 weeks. But instead, I was in handcuffs, wrongfully arrested for marijuana. And at that moment, everything that I had been counting on was gone. I thought life was pretty much over. I had given up on everything, and I fell into one of the darkest times of my life, one of the most depressing times of my life. Here we are in 2025, 21 years later, and now I'm probably in the most successful point in my life. And I'm not doing this video so I can flex on anybody. I literally figured out along the way, those 21 years, that life has like a bell curve of success. And in each one of these stages, you have a light that you emit. And after 19 years in the Air Force, I think I finally figured it out enough to explain it to you all, not only what success is, but how you can achieve it with or without the Air Force, the military, or any company. So after my arrest, my life crumbled. My car broke down, I lost my job, and my mom threatened to kick me out of her house. This happened all within like a 2-month span. At this point in my life, I wasn't even thinking about success anymore. I was just trying to figure out how I was gonna eat, where I was gonna sleep, and basically how I was gonna survive. I call this stage the survival stage. If you ever look at like a lion pack or a wolf pack in the wild, the only thing they're thinking about every day is how they're gonna survive, where they're gonna get their next meal. But then, if you look at like a domesticated dog, the dog really isn't thinking about where it's gonna get its next meal. Matter of fact, it's coming up to you with a ball and it wants to play, if your dog is anything like my dog. But those wolves, they don't have any dreams. They are not thinking about their future. All they're thinking about is right now and where they're gonna get their next meal. This was me in that survival stage. And in that stage, I did some things I wasn't proud of. And there's many people in that stage right now. This is the stage where you're emitting no light. It's dark. And once you're here, it's very hard to escape. For me, I stayed in this stage for about a year, and I got lucky. My recruiter called me a year after my arrest and asked me how things had been going. I had no idea why the recruiter called. I didn't even expect him to call. But he changed my life, and I got my second chance. And this chance took me out of the survival stage and put me into the next stage that I like to call the fear stage or the pleasing stage. You see, when you're in the survival stage, you have nothing to lose. But in the pleasing stage or the fear stage, you finally have something to lose, and you don't want to lose it. So I'm in the Air Force now. I finally have somewhere I know I'm gonna have something to eat. I know I'm gonna have somewhere to sleep, and I know I'm gonna have positive people around me. I do not want to lose this. So I'm busting my butt, trying to do everything right, trying to please everybody, and nothing is about me at this point. It's just pleasing the ones above me and making sure that I do not lose my job. So whatever you wanted me to do, yes sir, I'm gonna get it done, and I'm gonna get it done good. I'm gonna get it done better than everybody else because I don't want to lose this opportunity that I have. So in this please stage is when you start emitting some light. Somebody flips your light switch on and your light starts illuminating a little bit, like a little flicker of light, and starts making leadership around you happy because of the job that you're performing. But this light is nowhere near as bright as it can be, because you're working from a state of fear. You're never stepping out of the lines. You're never taking any risk. It's just yes sir, and you're just following whatever somebody tells you to do because you're in fear of losing whatever little security that you do have. So I became a machine. I'm just executing orders at this point. But in this stage, your confidence starts to grow because you're doing so well at the job that you can start moving forward into the next stage of success that I like to call the ego stage. Now, some people get stuck here for their whole life. They never make it out of the ego stage because the ego stage feels good. It's for you. You're doing everything for you. You know your performance is top tier, and so does everyone else. And now your light bulb is on. You're emitting a lot of light. Everybody can see it. But this stage is probably the most dangerous stage to be in. So I made a video a while back. I was talking about how I was the Booster Club president, most stressful time in my life. I'm also the mission supervisor of my job at the time, and I'm raising all kind of money for this Booster Club. I feel I'm shining. Everybody knows that I'm shining. Everybody knows that I'm killing it. Everybody except for my commander at the time. So I'm performing, I'm giving them everything I got, and my commander is telling me I'm not giving enough. And I felt underappreciated. This is my ego talking, right? So I'm like, you know what? If I'm not doing enough, let me show him exactly how much that I am doing by turning off my light bulb. And what I mean by that is I stopped emitting my own light. I turned the switch off and I was trying to prove a point, like, if you don't think I'm performing, let me show you what it looks like when I'm not performing, right? And that's why the ego stage is dangerous, because when you feel like you're not being appreciated, you'll turn your own light switch off and make the room go dark, right? And then everybody in the room is like, hey, where'd the light go? But the thing about flipping that switch off so much is that eventually, instead of them wondering where the light went, they'll go replace that light bulb. And that's what happened with me and my commander. I flipped off the switch and the commander wasn't trying to figure out where the light went. The commander was just like, you know what? I'm gonna find somebody else. So it backfired on me and I ended up not getting the promotion that I felt like I deserved because my ego got in the way. And it didn't help, but it just made me more mad. So this stage can become a trap because you start feeling like you're irreplaceable, but you can quickly realize that you are. Like I said earlier, most people get stuck here. Fortunately for me, I had a moment at this job where I realized it's bigger than me. At this same job where I was the mission supervisor, I'm working as an imagery analyst. We used to provide eyes for people down on the ground. We did all kind of different things. But one time we had this troops in action calls. Basically, you have some troops on the ground, they need some help. We have these things all the time, so this is no surprise to me, and we just do our job, right? We have about 10 people down on the ground. We provide some eyes for them. We take care of the enemies around them. Boom, we go home, day's over, right? We forget about this moment. About 6 months later, I'm at the job, and they pull everybody into this meeting room and said there's some people there that wanted to see us, the people who ran this mission. And it was 10 special warfare guys in the Air Force, and they came in there. They had just got back from a deployment, and they came into this room and they were telling us how thankful they were that we provided those eyes for them because they thought that they were gonna die that day. But we were able to save them. We were able to take care of them. So I had been doing this job day to day over and over and over, and it started feeling like, you know, I don't really see the value. I don't really see the impact that we're having. But on that day, I realized like, yo, this is way bigger than you. And this helped me shift from the ego stage into what I like to call the company stage, where now you're not doing it for your ego anymore. You're doing it for the company that you work for. Now you put the company over yourself. And a lot of people have an issue with this because they're like, I'm not gonna put this company over me. But the beauty about putting the company over yourself is that everything before that stage is taken care of. Your ego's taken care of when you put the company before yourself. Your fear stage, your pleasing stage is taken care of. And the survivor, you're not even worried about surviving anymore because you're successful. Your light is emitting. You're emitting a lot of light at this point. The room is full of light and everyone is happy. Now that I was putting the company before myself, the promotions started coming, the money started coming, started mentoring people, started leading. I just had all kind of opportunities working for the company than working for myself. The thing about this stage is that the company stage is probably the most burning out stage. And what I mean by that is your light bulb, you only get so many days of light. Everyone's light bulb has a different shelf life. Some people's light bulb, it can burn for years. Some people's light bulb, it can burn for weeks. But in the company stage is when your light bulb burns out the fastest because you're doing so much for this company. You're putting it over you. You're putting it over your family sometimes. You're putting it over a lot of stuff to where it can start burning you out. So in this stage, you really got to learn how to balance. You got to learn how to take care of yourself and take care of everything else as you're taking care of the company. Some people, it's dangerous for them because they never figure that out. And that's what happened to me in this stage. I burnt out to the point where I didn't even want to do that job anymore. I wanted to get out of that career. I wanted to get out of the Air Force at this time because I had burnt out. I have gave everything I had to the Air Force at this time and I was just burnt out. And I honestly thought that that was the peak of success. And I was like, if this is the peak and I reached it, what do I do now? So I'm trying to figure that out and I want to get out of this career. So I go and talk to my chief and say, yo, I cannot do this job anymore. My chief was like, what's going on? I was like, I just can't, I'm burnt out. So the chief was like, well, what do you want to do? And I was like, I don't know. I always wanted to be a recruiter when I joined. Is there any way I can become a recruiter? About a week later, my chief notifies me I got picked up for recruiting. And I was like, oh my God, like now I get to reset. But it was in this stage where I found out the most successful stage of life. And like I say, you can find this stage in any point of your life as well. It doesn't have to come through the military, but this is where I found this stage of success. And this is called the people stage. And I hope that some of you can ascend to this level. When I realized the true meaning of success, I had a young lady come into my office. She was about 19 years old. She had been denied by the Air Force. She had been denied by the Navy. She'd been denied by the Army and the Marines. All four of the branches told her that they would not accept her because of her background. She had a lot of different criminal charges on her background, and she reminded me of me. This is someone who I'm looking at, and she looks like she has what it takes to be a good member of the Air Force, but she has a history that is preventing her from serving. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm not supposed to put her in. You know, we're taught as recruiters that we want to put people into the Air Force that's in the best nature of the Air Force, right? So a lot of recruiters, they would look at this girl and say, she's probably not the best nature for the Air Force. But I saw something in her. I saw a little spark. So I put myself on the line, and I fought for her to get into the Air Force. I had to do a lot of work. She had to do a lot of work, but we eventually got her into the Air Force. And at that moment, I felt good. But when I really learned the meaning of success is when she went through basic training. She graduated with honors out of basic training. I was like, okay, cool. She got into the Air Force and got BTZ. BTZ is below the zone airman. Basically, only one person gets it or two people get it in your unit, and it's basically promoting the sharpest A1C into the senior airman position because they've done things beyond what most A1Cs do. So I'm like, man, like she really crushing it. And then about 3 years ago, she used her education benefits and she graduated with a bachelor's degree at like 24 years old or something like that, 23 years old. And when she got this degree, she reaches out to me and she says, thank you. Just a simple thank you. I'm telling you, like in this stage, you're emitting so much light because you're helping so many people. You're lighting the way for so many different people. But the beauty about it is that you can't burn out because people are always going to come back to you and re-spark your light or refuel your light. It's like infinite energy. When she came back to me and she was like, thank you, like your light can't go out. And the crazy part about it is everything else is taken care of. The company's taken care of. The ego's taken care of. The pleasing people is taken care of. The survival, you're not worried about anything because it's bigger than you. You're taking care of people. And that is simply where I learned the most successful stage to be in life is taking care of people. And like I say, you don't have to do that through the military. You don't have to do it through your company. You just find something that brings value to people, a lot of people, shine a light for everybody to use it, and that's where your success is gonna come. And I'm making this videos because after 19 years in the Air Force and all the different stages I was in, this has to be the most success. And too many people are thinking that they're at the top of success, but they're not helping people. Maybe you're not even pleasing. Maybe you're surviving. Maybe you're out there robbing people and stealing and doing things like that. Maybe you're in the ego stage where it's just about you and pissing people off along the way because everybody can't stand you because you're so caught up in your ego. Or maybe you're doing everything for the company, but you burnt out. You go home and you got nothing for your family. I pray that at least some of you can get to the people stage where your light illuminates the way for several others. So my question to you is, what stage of life are you in? And if you're in a survival stage, then we got to get you out of there. We got to start getting some money into your pocket so you can stop thinking about how you're going to eat or where you're going to sleep next. So with that being said, I got a video on the screen right now breaking down the military's new pay for 2025. And if you're in that survival stage, this might help you get started into your next stage of success. Like I always say, I hope this video brought value to you. Stay beautiful, stay classy, and until next time, check me out.